View from the Gutters presents Back Matter, Episode 3, Emerald City Comic Con 2014.
Well, I guess those are now Back Matter episodes 0 and -1.
Yeah, they are. 0 and 0.5. To use both
Back
Marvel
Matter
and DC.
0 point now.
0 point then and 0 point now.
Yes, 0 point then and 0 point finite.
All right, well, yeah. Welcome to Back Matter, Episode 3, Emerald City Comic Con wrap-up. How are you guys doing? I'm Andrew Chard.
I'm Kayleigh Fleeman.
I'm Kirby Green 2000.
And I'm Tobiah Panshin, taking Cade's spot.
And I'm Cade Reynolds. Nah, Cade's not here.
Cade didn't go to Emerald City.
It's just sad, but
It's very disappointing.
And Joe is old, so he can't be here. We're recording on Sunday night after the con in hopes to get this episode out in the morning. And we just wanted to talk a little bit about our con experience and what we did. And I met Carl Urban, and I'm not going to mention that 42 times, but I met Carl Urban. I didn't meet him. I just sat near him. That counts as meeting him.
You just kind of sat near him
totally
and
counts.
glowered at him for an hour.
I did. I watched Sam take several selfies with him. Our beautiful friend, Sam Lucina.
Did he basically make Carl Urban photobomb his own selfie?
Yeah, he did.
Like, he took a selfie of himself with Carl Urban inadvertently
Yeah.
photobombing.
Yes, that happened.
That is so mean.
Yeah, so Sam, beautiful friend Sam Lucina, and I went to, Matt McGinnis was there as well, and Bernard, other collaborators on the show.
Who I have never met.
Yeah, he was on episode 1, Bernard Veray.
There's also some dude named Thor on some episode.
Yeah, he was...
because I did all the website stuff. I have no idea what his last name is, so he's just Thor.
Yeah, his name is on Facebook is Thor, and then not his real last name is his last name. So, he's it's hard to tell his last name. I forget that his last name is not Odin's son all the time. But he was almost on the show too. I saw him at Comic-Con. He gave me a big old kiss on the cheek while I was waiting in line to meet Richard Starkings. Anyway, Sam and I went to see the Dread screening last night, which, if you're not aware and you went to Comic-Con, the Cinerama downtown does events with Emerald City Comic-Con. On Thursday night, they did Princess Bride with Carrie Elwes.
I heard that got canceled.
He was not there. He
Okay.
got sick. They did still show the screening, and I think I don't know if they did a refund on the tickets or not or what,
I have
but
no idea.
he did get sick, which was unfortunate. They did Serenity with Alan Tudyk on Friday night, which sold out immediately, like the minute tickets were posted.
Not surprised.
Dread with Carl Urban, which was awesome, and also Jock and one of the writers of the current Judge Dredd series, which I think it's the prequel to the movie or the sequel to the movie.
I know that there was one coming out where he went to Mega City 2.
That's the one I'm reading. It's not that one.
Okay.
It's the one that's affiliated with the film in some way.
I don't know.
I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head.
I did see two people cosplaying as Judge Dredd and his sidekick, whatever her name is.
Anderson.
Yeah. They had good costumes.
Yeah, I saw a very large Judge Dredd as well.
That might have been the same one.
Okay.
He was a pretty hefty guy.
I saw a real skinny Judge Dredd
I
and
didn't
a
see
real
that.
big Judge Dredd, and I was like, you gained a lot of weight since I saw you last. But the Judge Dredd one was like fairly moderately sold out. It wasn't totally sold out, and we sat in the front and then ran to the back to watch the movie in 3D, which was a good call because I would have vomited had I sat a foot away from the screen.
And that
with
is
3D
such a
glasses.
good movie.
Yeah, oh, fantastic. And they talked about the sequel, which is cool. I guess I can leak now, but
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that
it's
was happening.
It's not confirmed, but everyone is very much on board from the creative team, and the studio DNA has not greenlit it yet. There's no like official word, but everything that Carl says is like, now that the director of Dread is done directing the movie he was directing now, they're going to start having some very serious talks about it.
So Half-Life 3 is confirmed?
Yeah, Half-Life 3 is confirmed. No, it's I think it's going to happen. I think that everybody involved is very passionate about it, and listening to them talk about the film, it sounded like they were very passionate about it, and it sounds like they want a trilogy.
Well, that would be really cool.
Because-
I've been watching Carl Urban's TV show, Almost Human,
Yeah.
which I thought was incredibly good.
Yeah.
Like I don't watch a lot of TV shows,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought that one was really good,
Yeah.
and it may not be picked up for next fall.
Yeah.
So it would be cool if he kind of had Judge Dredd as like a
That's
franchise.
kind of what he implied. He was like, now that I'm not filming, Being Human. or
Almost Human.
Almost Human. Right now, I have time to talk about this. And the writer of the movie seems like he has a trilogy in mind. He leaked that the next movie will probably focus on the Cursed Earth, the area outside of Mega City 1.
Nice.
And that the writer has intentions of using the Dark Judges, which are a fan favorite characters.
I
haven't
have
read
actually
a lot of.
never read Judge
I
Dredd,
bought
so I
some
don't
Judge
know
Dredd
a lot
there.
about it.
The Dark Judges are psychic judges. They're like,
Oh, interesting.
so there's a Judge Death, and there's like other guys, but the Anderson is kind of a setup to the fact that there are mutants in the Dredd world. And so Carl Urban was saying, like, if we make 3 movies, like, I would be surprised if we didn't see the Dark Judges. That came up in the Q&A.
There's so much material. They could
Oh,
just make a
absolutely.
ton of these movies.
Yeah.
And the first one was so good. Like, they
It's
nailed
fantastic.
They exactly nailed what you need to do with that character like that, which is
Oh,
like,
yeah.
don't tell an origin story with
Right.
them. Don't tell, like, this huge, like, climactic, world-changing
Nope.
thing. Like, just tell a story about a character.
Dude, he's a cop. He just like solves cop problem. It's more like telling a CSI movie where we'd be like, yeah, they solve a case, like that's what they do. They don't. If you told a CSI movie where they were like saving the president, it would be like, this is not the characters that we loved in the TV show. It's like the same thing. Right?
Yeah, you're
Like, if you had
breaking
a
the
Law
premise.
and Order movie, you would want it to be like the Law and Order TV show, and so I think they nailed that with the film too. Having no romantic interest in the film seemed to work really well. It was something that they thought they would have to do for the studio, but the studio didn't demand it, so they're like, fuck, perfect. Carl's very on board with he said it a couple times during the show. The original writer of Judge Dredd, the original creator, his only note on the first script was Dredd says less. And Carl said that in the first meeting with the writer, and so right away they realized that they could click, and it wasn't about giving Judge Dredd a lot of dialogue. It was about refining the dialogue that he already had.
They also made exactly the right choice to have him never take off the helmet through the entire movie, because that is his face.
Yeah, and Carl said that he wouldn't have been in the meetings for the movie had in the script Dredd taken off his helmet. He was like, yeah, I want it to be that true to the character. So
Well, that's great.
Yeah, Carl Urban's awesome, and he's very much a fan of Dredd now. I don't know how much he read when he was a kid, but I think that he was aware of it. And then for the filming of the movie, he made a journal where he would photocopy pages from the comics that he was reading and keep them with him as inspiration, try to get those lines into the film. So it's a great team. I'm really excited. And I think Carl Urban was saying basically that the response that the first film got was not a great theatrical release, but it has legs. It sold really well on DVD, and people still talk about it, and people still are interested in it. And he thinks that if they see a second movie, the theatrical release will be a lot different because people know what to expect. So
That sounds legit.
that was my Saturday night. It was awesome.
That's cool.
How was your con, Kayleigh?
My con was awesome. I would say that this is probably my first super successful con. Most of the time I've either been broke and kind of bumming rides off of people and only having $10 to spend.
Yeah.
This year, I was able to go crazy and just do whatever I wanted because I had my own room in the city and it was awesome. On Friday, I got to meet Richard Starkings again, which I met him last year. I actually
best.
talked about it. Yeah, a little bit on the last podcast that we did.
Yeah, the North
last
City
year.
wrap up last year.
Yeah, and he was
View from the
super
Gutters Back
sweet.
Matter point now.
He was just super sweet. He's just this elderly, Scottish gentleman. We talked about Marillion for half an hour, which is this British band that I was named after because my parents are hippies. And I came up to him last year. Didn't really expect like a major conversation, just like a, hey, you know, I saw you last year, really appreciate your work. I'm just picking up Elephant Man 6. But he remembered me, which was so exciting. And he was telling me about how his friend actually got to see Marillion in the UK because they did a tour, which is not very common. And he was just like super excited about it. And he was super sweet. He remembered how to spell my name, which is a crazy spelling.
It's weird.
Yeah. And he knew how to spell it. He was super sweet. I was apparently the first Elephant Man 6 that he had signed ever, which was exciting and also weird because it's been out for a while. But
they shorted him at his table, is what he told me, that like he was supposed to get Elephant Man 6 in the mail to take with him to the cons, and he didn't get it.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't have any for sale. So that's probably why you were...
Well, when I went, he had some paperbacks for sale.
I think it was the hardcover that he didn't get.
Okay, so yeah.
Because he also didn't get 4, that's what he was telling
Okay.
Joe and I when we were there meeting him.
Right.
Because he's awesome. If you ever get a chance to meet him at a con, I highly recommend it.
Even if you don't know his work, like you should just meet him because
I always like
adorable.
standing around with you guys, like with him talking and stuff. Like,
And even if you think you haven't read something that Richard Starking has worked on, you probably have, because Comicraft touches like almost everything. And
Those are all the digital fonts that they do lettering with now.
Yes, he created Comicraft, the company. He also created the way that digital lettering is done. Like the reason that the industry standard is kind of the way that it is because of Richard Starking. So
Yeah, definitely.
if you ever get a chance to ask him about lettering at all, he will talk to you forever because he's such a cool guy, and also he knows everything about comics there is to know. He's met everyone, and he's just like a wealth of information.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
He was funny too because on an Elephant Man 6, unlike all the other ones, there's like a cool design medallion on the first page that's normally kind of left blank. It's usually like a kind of a cool marbly color, and every year like that's where he's done like his sketches and stuff, and that's where all my sketches are, and all the other ones I have signed. He opens up 6 and he looks at it and he goes, "Shit, I did not think this through." And he turns to one of the other artists and says, "Remind me on 7 to not put a medallion on the first page." So it was hilarious.
That's great.
And then Saturday night, I went to the Welcome to Night Vale panel, and they did the Thrilling Adventure Hour. It wasn't a live show. It was like the first viewing of one of their still
wait, are you talking
in
about
production.
Friday night?
Oh, that was Friday night.
Okay,
Sorry.
Because I went to that too, and it was great.
Yes, it was great. And the actor for Cecil Baldwin is just as sassy as he is on the radio show. And he's adorable, and he's tiny, and you just want to like pick him up and run off with him.
Also, one of the cool things about that too is John DiMaggio had like a guest appearance. He was doing, was it the Stone Spire Spiders or whatever?
The Brownstone Spire.
The Brownstone Spider. Oh my gosh, I flipped out when he showed up.
Yeah, he was the intern, which if you don't listen to Welcome to Night Vale, there's kind of like this ongoing joke where all the interns die or horrible things always happen to them.
Spoilers, Kayleigh.
It happens in like the
every
first
episode,
like
every
2
single one.
minutes in one of them. Like this is
Yeah.
not a spoiler. And well, like John just does not have a happy ending. He tries to buy a sandwich and he falls into a pit and dies.
Well, that's a spoiler.
That is a spoiler,
That's a little
but it was
spoiler.
hilarious because Cecil like is just like, to the friends and family of John, he died doing what he loved. And then he's like, and also I'm going to have a late lunch.
Who put a pit next to the sandwich machine?
It's just a part of the radio.
It makes sense.
Tower.
If
Yeah.
you listen to Welcome to Night Vale.
Yeah, there's
That's
like
fair.
There's
listened
a
to one episode.
there's a
I've never listened to it, but I
Oh,
know
it's
that
so
on,
good.
It's
It's
on my
great.
agenda.
Yeah.
Especially
it's
since
amazing.
Kit and Andrea, who are other friends of ours, they did a Welcome to Night Vale cosplay that was very elaborate, and they were super stoked about this whole weekend. Mm-hmm. And she like put this whole like long rant up on Facebook because she met, what's his name, Curtis Cecil.
Joseph. Is it Joseph?
There,
Fink?
Joseph Fink is the creator. I forget the name of the actor for Cecil Baldwin, but
Okay, Cecil, yes. Which is who she was cosplaying as, like the dude with like the crazy eye design on all the tattoos. she was cosplaying as that, and she got ridiculously stoked when she met that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were gonna meet him, but then we looked at the line. It was like, whoa!
Yeah, it literally wrapped around the entire bottom floor. Like you see it, and there's like 3 people that are waiting at the table. So I was like, oh, I'll wait in line. It's not a big deal. And then one of the ECC minions was like, no, the line's actually over there, and point like a mile away. So I did not get to meet him, which was disappointing. But
We looked at him.
We did look at him, and he was adorable.
Yeah, he was
So-
very nice looking.
Nice.
Excellent.
You went on Saturday, right, Toby?
I did. I only bought a Saturday ticket this year. Last year, I had both Saturday and Sunday passes, but I actually ended up going on Friday as well and just kind of hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
And like I got a hotel room, and I had kind of the problem that Kayleigh's had. Like I had no money, and like I was there for a long time, but I didn't really necessarily get to get a lot of stuff, and I was just super stressed out because there were a bunch of people in our hotel room, and it was super tiny, and just logistically it was a nightmare. So this year I was like, I'm going one day, driving up, driving back down. I took all the money that I would have spent on extra tickets, hotel room, all that, and I was like, this is all of my con money, and I am actually going to spend every dollar of this.
Nice.
And I had a crazy successful Emerald City.
Nice.
I met Stan Sakai for the first time, who Usagi Yojimbo was the first comic book that I actually owned. Like, we had comics in the house all the time I was growing up, but like, I got Usagi Yojimbo as a Christmas present. Like, that was my comic book.
Yeah.
And so it was just crazy awesome to get to meet him. And unfortunately, like, he's kind of getting up there in years. His wife has been very ill recently, and like, he looked really frail.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a bummer. But he drew a really awesome Usagi in my book, and he signed it, and I was super jazzed about that.
Nice.
I also got to talk to Wendy and Richard Pinney.
Oh, yeah.
We just did the ElfQuest podcast about their work, and a couple of months ago I did a blog post, ElfQuest and Conceptual Space, which if you haven't read, you should go and check it out, because
it's still on our website.
It is still on our website. It will continue to still be on our website
Forever.
for the indefinite future.
Forever.
But I talked to them, like I mentioned that I done this, and they were like, oh yeah, that was really awesome. We love that. Like, so often comic reviewers are like superhero fans, and they really don't get what we're doing. And this blog post like really, really got what we're doing with ElfQuest in a way that not a lot of people do, which was really awesome. And we had this really great long conversation kind of talking about it, and they were very effusive in their praise, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And they actually specifically mentioned, like, it is a highlight of the con for us that we got to say hello to you and thank you for writing this thing about what we've done.
That's awesome.
Which was like
really cool.
crazy cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, we talked a little bit about some of their future projects, and I left that conversation with just this huge grin on my face. I mean, I kind of am a little bit awkward around people that I respect but don't know. Like, I have a hard time talking to creators because I'm like, what am I going to say to you?
Right.
I really like your work. Like, that doesn't really convey the depth of my feeling for the things that I read.
Yeah.
And so just having that kind of reaction from a creator where they were incredibly jazzed about something that I had done as a fan, like, I had no problem talking to anybody else the rest of the weekend, which was a big thing for me.
I've noticed that I get better at talking to creators like as cons have gone on. And I was able to meet Tim Sale this weekend and talk to him a couple times. I had him sign one of my issues of The Long Halloween. And he is just the nicest guy ever. Like, he's so cool. And he is probably one of my 2 favorite comic book artists of all time. Just like his influence on like what I like to look at visually is huge. And he's such a humble guy, and it was so nice to be able to talk to him. Had it been 2 years ago, and it was like me meeting him, I don't know that I would have been able to do that, because I have gotten better at like just going up and being like, I'm a huge fan of your work. Like, it's so nice to meet you. And just opening with that is nice.
Yeah. I had a... Oh, sorry.
No, go. Kirby, go.
Well, I just wanted to wrap up real quick. I got to meet Art Adams and Ann Nocendi and get my long shot signed.
Oh, yeah.
I met Chris Wiebe and Rock Upchurch, who do Rat Queens.
Yep.
I bought the trade of their first 5 issues, got that signed.
Nice.
I get to see Simon Roy again, buy his new book, get that signed.
Yeah, the what is it? It's Jan's Heart and Other Stories.
Something like
I think
that.
I believe that's what it's called. I talked about that on the Wednesday show.
Totally pulling it out of my bag. Jan's Atomic Heart and Other Stories by Simon Roy.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, I actually have not had a chance to read it yet because I've been catching up on reading for our main show.
Yeah.
But I'm super jazzed about it.
Yeah.
So I got that. I got a couple of art prints, and I just got to like cruise around the con for a long time, talking to people, checking things out. I met Matt Fraction, and I just had a really great time. Like, this is, I think, the best con I think I've been to in 15 years.
I have the same experience. This con for me was the best I've been to.
And it
was great.
They had a super great Lego area.
Oh, yeah.
That was just all these giant Lego setups.
There's a lot of the same type of stuff that you would see if you went to BrickCon, but you didn't have to pay for an extra ticket, which is really cool. So, like, if you go to BrickCon, it might not be as cool for you, but if you've never gone to BrickCon and you like what you saw at that Emerald City, you should check out BrickCon in Seattle because it's just a whole con of just Legos.
They had
awesome.
Full-sized remote control R2-D2
Yeah. So good.
with
just
lights and
wandering
sounds.
around.
And the tops opened and like the top panels and everything opened, and it was so cool.
That was
Did
incredible.
you go into the basement of that room though?
No.
It was model mayhem, and it was like all of these like spaceship models and models of Gundams and like battleship. There were like 2 battleship Yamatos down there, and like from Star Blazers,
Nice.
and like just a ton of really cool, well put together, well made models. Which was cool, but I walked through there in like 4 minutes and was like, "This is awesome!" And then went back to the con. But a lot of people didn't even know it was down there because the Lego section was like really well advertised.
I got there at like 10 in the morning, right when it opened, and at like 3 or 4 o'clock, Kayleigh and I were running around, and we ran into our buddy Brandon Hysaw, and he's like, "Well, did you go down to this other area?" And I was like, "What area is this?" And so most of the con was on the 4th floor. There was actually another smaller area on the 3rd floor,
That's where Tim
and
Sale
then you
was.
went down from there to another level on the 2nd floor, which is where the BrickCon area was.
Yeah.
Had to go deeper.
And I did not know that 3rd floor area was there until like the last couple hours of the con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that had some really, really great people were down there. That's where Richard Starkings was. That's where Tim Sale was. We got some cool prints down. That's where Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti were.
It's where Eric Troutman, local hero, was.
Oh, he did his Dynamite sign. His normal booth was up by Greg though in the main.
I saw him in
exhibition
passing for like a minute. I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And he's like, "Awesome. I have to go." And I'm like, "That's cool. I just wanted to say hi. I can talk to you at any point.
Yeah,
so don't waste time with me."
Yeah, he and Brandon Jerwa of Dynamite Comics writing fame, and the Shooters with Eric Troutman. He was there. Right
Award-winning
next to
Shooters.
Award-winning Shooters, and co-host of BJ Shea's Nation comic book podcast. We talked about podcasting because we're nerds, and then they were sitting right next to Greg Rucka, who I got to sign my single issue of Stumptown #1.
Awesome.
And the artist Matthew Southland of Stumptown #1 was right across the aisle from him, and I got that signed, and all kinds of cool people were over there. I met G. Willow Wilson, and I had the fan
I was
in
bummed
front
she was
of me.
not there when I passed her booth.
Oh man,
She was probably doing a panel.
yeah, I bet she was.
And it really sucks that Eric Mannix is not here because I went with him and he went to all of the panels. And
Yeah.
I skipped all of the panels. And I was hoping that he would give us a panel report.
Yeah, he was gonna be on the show, and then family plans came up, so he wasn't able to make it tonight. So our heart goes out to
This
him.
is why
And I
nerds
picked him
should
up.
never have families.
Yeah, I picked him
Live
up.
alone
Yeah.
in your parents' basement
Yep.
forever.
I picked him up a bunch of Doctor Strange, so hopefully that makes him feel better.
Yeah, and literally it's this huge stack.
I got a really good deal because it was like the last 4 minutes of the con, and this secret: if you're going for all 3 days and you don't think that something's gonna sell out, wait till the 3rd day to buy it because stuff goes like crazy discount.
Yeah, if it's something that you can get somewhere else or you're like, "Oh, I could get it or not."
Yeah.
Wait until like the closing hours because
Yeah.
people do not want to pay to ship stuff back that they didn't sell.
Right.
And they will cut you crazy good deals, especially on used stuff.
The 2000 AD booth, they were selling all their Judge Dredd complete case files, and I picked one up for half price. from
Nice.
2000 AD, which was like
Well, there was
super
one
awesome.
place where on Saturday they had stuff for 75% off cover price.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that probably went up to 90 by the end of Sunday.
I'm sure. Well, I feel bad for those guys that bring like 42 long boxes, and it's like, well, I have to pack all that home. So a lot of that went down to $1 today, and
Yeah.
not the
surprising.
real good stuff, but the the older stuff.
Yeah.
I got some Hellblazer issues too for like real cheap. Kirby, how was your con? You
It
had to
was
hang out with
great.
Joe all day, which is obviously a downer.
Yeah, it was pretty much a downer. No, actually, I ran off with Kayleigh quite a bit.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But I got to see Adam Warren again.
Nice.
Which was cool because I actually talked to him this time and I got an actual sketch instead of him just drawing like Empowered's head in my first issue.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, it's not very good because, he takes forever to like draw anything. So it was just like super, quick and stuff. But that was super neat.
I saw the sketch that he did for you. It was super cool.
Yeah, no, it was
new
really
one,
neat,
yeah.
but it was like, it's very sketchy. And then I got to see Mike and Laura Allred,
Oh, yeah.
which was
I met
super
them.
exciting.
I talked to him twice because someone was like, I came back to Olympia on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
and someone was like, oh yeah, I need all these Fantastic Four issues that Mike already did the cover for signed. So I was like, cool, I get to meet him again.
Yeah, no, he was so nice. And I got to tell him
Yeah.
about how he was like at the Danger Room because I was wearing my Danger Room shirt with it on it. And I was like, yeah, I didn't know who you were. And then I like realized who you were. And then he gave me a free CD. So
Oh, that's awesome.
that was really cool. Yeah. And I also picked up a print he did because they're doing like a top 20 list of whatever
He's
for
doing 20 covers
Yeah.
in the next month for DC that are all based on the Batman 66 motif.
Yeah.
And so he'll be doing covers for 20 different books in that
Nice.
style. And the Green
Yeah.
Lantern one's my favorite because it's got Batman in space with a helmet on over his bat suit. It's my favorite thing ever in comics whenever Batman puts another costume on over the top of his already costume. I love that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, he was selling prints of like those covers that he was
Yeah.
doing. And I got this really cool one of Nightwing like defusing a bomb.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was
Which
pretty
is
sweet.
ironic because Nightwing was recently just killed by a bomb.
Actually, he was killed by Lex Luthor to
This-
prevent a bomb from exploding.
Right.
Oh, I didn't know.
Because
Yeah, sorry,
that's what
spoilers.
happens
that.
sometimes.
I probably wouldn't have read
Spoilers
it.
for a shitty comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Don't
probably.
don't read Forever Evil. It's garbage.
Yeah, I'm kind of butthurt about
If you
DC
listen
right now.
to our episode where we talked about Forever Evil, you'll have heard that.
Was that the one that
Actually,
Joe read with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
My favorite thing at the con was getting creators to talk shit on DC. Even creators that were working for DC. I was talking about how bad DC was.
I took my Batgirl to get it signed by Dustin Nguyen,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, this is the book that made me love DC.
Yeah.
And then they canceled it to do the new 52, and he's like, and that made you hate DC? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah.
Oh.
Like, I think he knew.
There were a couple guys that don't work for DC that I talked shit on DC with, which I don't feel bad about naming. Ryan Otley and I were talking about how much more fun Invincible was than anything that's going on at DC, which is cool. But a couple guys that work for DC, who I will not name, were definitely like, yeah, stuff's weird. Stuff's not nearly the way I thought it would be. So, yeah, it was unfortunate. They were talking about some regrets of the series that they wrote already, that they were like, yeah, we didn't really know what the universe was going to be like because no one told us. So the books we wrote didn't really fit in, and this is kind of why it's so convoluted, is because they have bad editors, which we've been saying forever. But
A creator who was recently working for DC, I wasn't actually talking to them, I was next in line. And they were talking to somebody else, and they were like, yeah, I had some really great ideas for this series, and then they told me instead of having 6 more issues, I had 1 more issue,
oh my
and I had to take all the plot lines that I had planned out and compress them down, and sometimes that happens.
Crappy.
At
that
DC.
sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So DC is a pile of shit. But hey, you know what? So many good Marvel creators.
Well, hey, so many good old DC books,
That's
like
true.
Batgirl with
Yes.
Stephanie Brown.
Oh, my friend picked up an amazing Stephanie Brown print with her in all 3 of her costumes. It
Nice.
was Spoiler, Robin, and Batgirl, and it was like the coolest thing I've seen. And that was from Marcio Takara, who's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah. A lot of cool prints there. Like, I noticed that, like, we bought a lot of prints this year. Like, I
Yeah.
got that one, and then Joe got, like, one with the Flash, and Audrey got a Flashy one, too. And, I know, it's just one of those things where, like, you wouldn't, like, go online to buy prints unless
Right.
you were like, I need something here. Like,
Yeah.
my walls are already covered. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
like make room for them. But
Well, selling prints is actually like a good revenue source for artists, especially like
Yeah.
artists who aren't big name artists. I mean, the big name artists too, like they make money on commissions and stuff.
Yeah.
But going to a con and meeting like up and coming artists and buying prints is a good way to support them
Yeah, definitely.
and get some cool artwork that you wouldn't normally be able to get.
yeah.
The first con I went to at Emerald City, I spent a lot of time getting sketches, which I paid for because, like, I'll buy your art book if you'll do like a sketch. Not like demanding that, but like, can I get a sketch from you? Like, how much would you like? And they're like, well, just pick up my art book, and they'll do a sketch. And it's great. I have a whole bunch of awesome sketches, but it gets really expensive really fast because you're getting, just a sketch and you're paying, $10, $20 for an art book or, something. And it can be really difficult, but the prints are all really reasonably priced. They're like 10 or $20, and you get a really awesome print that looks, way more professional than a sketch. So my new strategy is definitely the prints over sketches.
Sketches are super cool though. Like the
They
other
are really cool
thing that I got was Brandon Graham recently did a like single issue with Adam Warren, which I've not read yet, but I definitely bought of Empowered.
Was that
And-
issue 6? The
Yeah, I don't
special number 6 or
something like that. Yeah, but it just came out recently, and so when I went to go see Brandon Graham, of course we forgot our King City again because
Oh yeah, and
that's
Joe
what
was
we
supposed
do.
to have me pick that up when I went to Olympia, and he forgot.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
but
it's Empowered Special number 6,
Yeah.
Internal Medicine.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the one.
yeah, and so I went up to him and I was like, "Would you do a sketch for me?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I asked him to do a sketch of Empowered with one of his floppy cats from King City. So he did, and it's awesome. It's probably like one of the coolest things I got.
It is actually a really cool sketch.
It's really
amazing.
neato.
We should maybe.
I took a picture of it specifically so I could show everybody. So
I don't
we
think
can
we
probably throw a gallery up
Yeah.
on the website.
Yeah, we might be able to do that.
Because I picked up a really cool. It's relatively small. I think it's like 6x9 of a print that somebody did of Laputa, like the
nice.
robot from the Miyazaki
Yeah.
movie on the island, and it's really cool. I don't have a picture, but I'll show you guys later.
Yeah,
I got a really cute print from the same artist because we went together, and it's of like child Batman and Robin together, and they're like holding hands, and it's like the cutest damn thing you've ever seen. And that's definitely gonna be like a centerpiece of my house.
nice. What'd you guys think of all the cosplay that was going on this weekend? 'Cause there
I
was some
thought
sick cosplay.
It was
Yeah, it
super
was
awesome.
great.
That is actually something that I did want to talk about
Yeah,
because
for
it seems
sure.
like there's more every single year.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like it's really becoming a huge part, like a huge sub fandom within kind of the greater realms of geekery. Because
Yeah.
you've got like the anime people and the
Yeah.
comic book people and the video game people,
yeah,
and then like the random things like all the Homestucks and the people
Yeah.
who are doing like Night Vale
I call
cosplay
them
and stuff.
the stuccos. That's what I call them, stuck fans.
Because-
And last year, like 1 out of every 3 costumes was a Homestuck costume. Like it was
Yeah.
crazy huge.
Well, it was like huge. Like everybody, you and Joe and Stories, everybody was just like, Homestuck is the best thing.
I love that comic book. That is a great. Well,
I didn't read it
webcomic, I guess.
specifically
Yeah. It is a
because I
great,
heard way
great
too much about
webcomic.
it.
Yep,
but
I will
it's been
not
on
read that.
I'm not
hiatus for
gonna
like
do
the
it.
last 6 months or more.
Yeah.
Like gearing up for the end, and they're also working on a video game.
Yeah,
And so the Homestuck presence was like way diminished. Like instead of
Yeah.
being every 1 of 3, it was like 1 of every 10.
man, I almost saw more Barnacle Boy cosplays than I did Homestuck cosplays.
Oh,
I
saw
did not see
so
any
many.
Barnacle Boys.
I saw like a couple more Barnacle Boy and Mermaid Man than I thought I would ever see in my life.
I did see a lot of Deadpools.
Well, that's
you're
always
gonna see a lot of
Deadpools.
Deadpool.
Yeah.
I saw, there's a bunch of Batmans and like that kind of stuff.
But I love how big it's becoming
Yeah.
and how creative people are getting it with it because they're doing like alternate versions of characters.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
There-
noticing a lot of gender bent costumes.
Yep.
Like
I
women who are
love
like,
those.
I like
We-
this
we
male
saw-
costume and I'm just going to do a lady version of it.
yeah. We saw Ozymandias and the comedian, a gender bent, which was really cool.
Yeah.
I think my favorite one was Gambit.
Oh, I saw her.
Oh,
I saw
yeah.
her on the
I saw her
street.
too.
She did
almost-
a great job.
Yeah, it was a fantastic costume.
Yeah. Joe really liked, he found a girl Invincible. That he
Oh,
took a
nice.
picture with. Yeah. I don't have it, obviously, but.
There
he
were
has it in his.
twin sisters who were both dressed up like Poison Ivy that were very cool.
Nice. My favorite was Galactus. There was
see
a
that.
fucking awesome Galactus there. If you're listening, sir, congrats on that costume. It was fucking amazing. The paint was so shiny, like exactly the way I imagined Galactus, and it was like he had this little Silver Surfer on this plastic thing coming out of his shoulder, and he had a tiny world ball in his hand. It was like, I got a bunch of pictures of him. It was outstanding. There was so many good cosplays.
There were a
can
couple
go
of
on
guys in
the website and
N7
see 'em.
armor that were really cool.
Yeah.
I saw like one Master Chief. I was surprised that there were not more.
Yeah, I saw lots of Star Wars stuff, but not very much Halo stuff anymore either. I saw a great Batman Beyond who had this like cool wing folding system that I was really impressed by. He would like spread his arms out and they would like pop out like tents.
Nice.
And then-
I tweeted about this. There was actually like an entire group of AIM scientists that had really nice costumes.
yeah, they only were there on Saturday, so guess who didn't see them? Me.
I also did not
I'll show
see
you a
them.
picture on my phone.
An artist was talking to me about it. I can't remember who it was. I'm sorry, but I was talking to a comic book artist, and they were like, "Oh, did you see all the AIM people yesterday?" And I was like, "No, I missed it," because he had a great MODOK sketch, and so we were talking about MODOK. Yeah, no, the cosplay was great this year. It's hard though because the Sky Bridge, which has the best lighting for taking pictures of cosplay, was taken up this year by booth space.
Yeah, Boom Studios.
Boom Studios had the whole Sky Bridge, which is great. Like, I love Boom Studios and stuff, but there was not a lot of room to stop on the Sky Bridge, and so anytime anyone would stop for a picture, the ECC staff was like right there to break it up. Toby's showing me a picture of the AIM.
If you go on our
and
Twitter, it's up there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And they have a cosmic cube.
Yeah,
It was
it's
so
great.
cool.
Yeah, that was hard because the Sky Bridge, like people would see Galactus or whoever on the Sky Bridge and be like, "Oh, can I get a picture?" And then like the ECC people would move them on. But
That's one of the things that I don't like to like, because I like making costumes. Like I've got like Robin costume and
you've got
like
a
I did.
sweet Venture Brothers costume.
I've got a henchman costume and stuff.
a Futurama one too. You wore that 2 years ago.
Yeah,
when I
my-
saw you.
My dupe costume.
Your dupe costume.
Yeah. But I just like, I know I have trouble with it because I feel like I can't enjoy the con because
Right.
like you get like, and Kit and Andrea, they're like big cosplayers.
huge
And I just
cosplayers.
like, I can't even do cons with them. I'm like, I gotta go do
They
stuff.
go 3
like,
days,
you guys.
and they have different costumes for every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're all really elaborate and well done. I mean,
Yeah,
they
they're
deserve
very
it,
well done.
but
Kit was
like,
stressing out 6 months ago because she was like, "Oh, my costumes! Like I haven't started yet."
Yeah, cosplayers that take their business. It's not costume play. It's costume business, as
It is
as the
costume
Monarch
business.
once said.
Well, there are people who come to the con and like have a table as a professional cosplayer.
Yeah, there was one right next to Mike Allred who she was very creepy and weird. And,
yeah,
She
that
was
was
really
she had a
creepy and
Fiona, the Fiona one. Was
Oh man,
like,
she had a sketch of Fiona, and
That's
it was
from Fiona and Cake.
Yeah. And Fiona was wearing like a band instead of her normal like long sleeve shirt, and her boobs were like popping like out for miles. I was like, but she's 12.
yeah,
That's so creepy.
it was really weird. She was a great saleswoman, and she was targeting a very specific audience, and it was working. But it was creepy.
It was kind of weird seeing some of the more, let's say, male gaze oriented artwork
Oh, there's a
That was
lot.
being
There's a
sold?
there's so
fucking
much of
ton
that stuff.
Yeah.
in contrast to like everything else.
How,
because it kind of seems like it's becoming its own little island at this point.
It's definitely a lot less than it was. Like when I went 2 years ago, there was like a whole section you could go to that was just like, you know, a topless version of Princess Leia. You got it. Here's a sketch. And it's like, what? Why would anyone want that?
But I think they're becoming more aware. Like, I don't know if you noticed or not, but there were like posters everywhere that were like a costume isn't like
Isn't consent.
yeah,
they
that's what it
definitely
was.
were making a really good effort to do that kind of stuff, which
Yeah.
is great.
I
mean, like, they
appreciated
should.
that.
I was just amazed by like just how nice everybody was. Like,
Yeah.
especially because like I'm on Tumblr all the time, and like you just read blog posts from like other cosplayers and other artists who were like, "Well, I went to this con, and because I have boobs, I was constantly harassed, even
Yeah.
though like I've worked on all these comics." And they thought like that. Clearly, because I'm a woman, I've never read comics, or
Yeah.
that my only value was in how I looked. And I just did not notice that there
man.
this year.
It's Washington.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just best date
We
ever.
were talking about
Yeah.
that actually.
Hands
how it
down.
was like,
Because it was just like everybody was so nice, and like even like people and the artists, like you don't necessarily expect them to be like downright mean, but you don't expect them to be that nice.
Yeah.
And
It seems to be a pretty common consensus that Emerald City is one of the better cons.
Oh, it's
for everybody.
Yeah, it's
like,
Yeah.
fantastic.
it's just a very mellow attitude
And
relative to other
I'm
things.
so glad that they expanded it because like there were 3 times as many people as there were last time I went to the show, and it did not feel any more crowded because they're taking up so much more of the convention center. They spread out a lot. It felt
Yeah.
like really
Yeah,
open. It was easy
did
to walk
not
around.
feel- the
Yeah.
longest I waited in line was for Stan Sakai.
Yeah.
And I was online for maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah, I got through the line for Mike Allred twice in the weekend, and I maybe waited 15 minutes both times. It
well,
was
he's
like,
so nice. He like
Yeah.
takes his time. With
oh
you,
yeah,
and
no,
so
and it
it's
was,
like-
and even with him just like chatting people up and being super friendly, like the line still moved like really fast. Like everyone's very courteous. I talked to Mike Norton a bunch, and who I'm a huge fan of, and he was just like the nicest guy ever. Like it was just every time I would meet, that was like my highlight of my Friday is I met Mike Norton, and he was just, it was awesome. You know, it was really cool to be able to meet those creators, and Mike and Tim Seeley and Chris Burnham were all right next to each other, the Chicago guys from 4 Star Studios, and they were like super nice. We talked about webcomics with them. Dean Tripp, who I have seen his artwork before. He did that great interior of the TARDIS with like all of the superheroes.
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah.
like,
I saw that.
yeah.
And I actually thought about buying that print.
Yeah, if you could name everyone in the print, you got it for free,
Really?
which is impossible because he has characters in there that are from books that he has not yet worked on yet.
oh, that's a trick.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks a lot, Dean Tripp. No, but you know, he was actually like, I had seen that work and I'd seen what he'd done. And I was like, oh, this guy, yeah, I'm a fan of that. Like, that's really good work. But after talking to him for like 10, 20 minutes, we talked about coloring in like the nerdiest way ever. Like I got to geek out with him about comic book coloring and about how
Nice.
DC's coloring sucks now and about how like all these bad colorists are working. And I'm now like a Dean Tripp fan for life. Like
It's actually it's worth checking out his stuff because I actually read a thing where he was talking about all the like actually drawing that.
yeah.
And a lot of the characters in there, they're alternate versions that he made up
Yeah.
of costumes where he's like, and it's doing like close-ups on the costume and he's like, here's the alternate version I did where it's kind of more of a this thing and this is
Yeah.
why I designed it in that way. Like he's doing his own renditions on like the Flash's costume. And
His
Batman
Green
Beyond's
Lantern is
costume.
really cool.
And Green Lantern, and like he gives reasons for why he put those design elements in there, and it's really cool to read.
Yeah, he's awesome. So if you don't know anything about Dean Tripp, like go look him up. He's fantastic. He has some amazing art for sale, and he's a fantastic colorist and a great artist as well. So
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah, meeting the artists is cool because you just like gain more of an
The
appreciation.
2 people that I did not get to meet that I was kind of bummed about. One was Jeff Smith.
Yeah.
And I got there and the person was like, the line just closed and it's closed for the day. Like he's not going to be doing any more signing and it's only there for one day.
Oh man,
But I gave my book to Andrea and she got it signed for me today.
Nice.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
I just didn't get to actually talk to him, which I was a little bit bummed
Right.
about.
yeah.
And the
Joe
other person
is-
that I wanted to talk to and didn't was Noelle Stevenson. Who
I
did
talked to her.
Did you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I went up to her and was very awkwardly like, oh, I'm not buying anything. I don't have anything for you to sign, but I follow you on Tumblr and you're awesome and I think your work is great. Like, it's a pleasure to meet you. And she was like, thanks. Like, it was...
Yeah, and that's exactly the situation. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to say, like, I
Yeah.
didn't know anything about your work. I saw the, like, journal comic that you did a little while ago about, like, encountering misogyny in the comics industry.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really well spoken.
Yeah.
And I started, like, I looked up your name and I found your webcomic, Nimona.
It's
and
great.
I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
But, like, there were always a bunch of people clustered around her table and she was only selling her Adventure Time comic.
Right. She was at the Boom Studios table.
Right. And so I didn't want to like go up and take her time and like I didn't have anything for her to sign. I wasn't going to buy anything.
Yeah.
And like I'm sure she's gotten a good response from that. Like I'm
Well,
sure she
yeah.
knows the impact that that's had.
Yeah.
And so I figured like maybe next year like the moon will be wrapped up.
I
the
wrote-
graphic novel will be out. I can get it signed. I can talk to her then.
I
Like,
wrote a big response
no big
on that on Tumblr. Like, she posted that on Tumblr, and on my personal Tumblr, not our show Tumblr, like, I reblogged it and put, like, a big post on there. So I was like, I read that. I wanted to let you know that, like, I'm a fan of that. So anyway, I was there with Monty when I did that. Our friend Monty, who I stayed with the whole weekend. He was like, I was like, I'm gonna go meet Noelle Stevens. Like, I'm a huge fan. Like, I'm gonna go meet her. And he's like, oh yeah, you're gonna go meet this cute girl creator. Like, can I go talk to her? And I was like, that was so cool. And he was like, oh, you done talking to your girlfriend yet? And I was like, yeah, Monty, no, I just like really like her work. And then later I was like, yeah, and I was talking to another friend of ours. Like, yeah, and I met Ginger Hayes. And he's like, you met Ginger Hayes? I was like, that's the same fucking person you made fun of me for talking to. I was like so mad at him for that. And he's like, I didn't know they were the same person. I was like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna murder you, Monty.
I got to meet Kayleigh, who I have like the biggest fucking crush on. She's just adorable. She does Cater Dye. She does a lot of Adventure Time stuff. And I felt like so creepy because I follow her on Tumblr, and she posts like everything on Tumblr, which I love because she's hilarious and it's always like funny. It's not just like boring stuff, but like I know that she's on the paleo diet and that she does CrossFit and that she recently dyed her hair and got a haircut. And I just felt like such a creep,
too much.
like going up to her. And I was like, hey, I'm a huge fan of Cater Dye. Like, it really means a lot to me. Like, just all the posts about bisexuality, all the posts about like self-harm, just your funny posts, your sad posts, all those are just amazing. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry I haven't really been updating it. It's like, oh, that's okay. I follow you on Tumblr. And then I was like, and Facebook. Like,
well, that's why
you're home.
That's why I always feel awkward, like coming up to creators, because you've got that weird dichotomy where you maybe know like a lot about them, like you follow them, you listen to them talk, like they feel like they're a part of your life because you know all these things about them.
Yeah.
It's like a distant friend that you have. But they don't know you at all.
Yeah, and then it's just...
And like there is kind of that little stalkerish element of it where like you can be overly familiar. Like there are creators who have complained about people like, I sent you an email and you didn't respond to me and now I'm breaking up with you by not reading your stuff anymore. Like it gets weird.
That is weird.
That's a little weird.
Scott Kurtz talks about how like he constantly gets breakup letters from fans. It's just the weirdest thing.
That's so weird.
Like
I think that
you can look up like his he was doing a podcast for a while called Webcomics Weekly that's really good.
Yeah. And
he blogs on his website sometime. Go look that up. Find some of his rants about it because it's really interesting to read.
I think some fans just do not know how to interact with... Well, okay, I'm not going to say I think. I know that some fans do not know how to interact with creators. And it's really sad because I was... I totally just spaced on his name. Who's the Iron Man creator that did like a lot of the design work for the movie, but he was an Iron Man artist?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, I've forgotten his name, which I'm embarrassed to say. But I was sitting looking at some art at the booth next to his, and a fan came up and was talking to him about Iron Man, and just like would not stop talking to him about Iron Man, and not even about his work on Iron Man. Just about fucking Iron Man and about his shit his friend liked about Iron Man. It's like, he doesn't care what you think about Iron Man. He definitely doesn't care what your friend who's not there does and thinks about Iron Man. Like, stop. Like, he clearly was not having a good time talking to his fan. And I felt like awful because you should just go up and be like, I'm a big fan of your work. Can you please sign this? Thank you so much. I had a great,
Yeah, there were definitely...
And have a great con. Like, tell them, like, thank them and say, have a great con. And you don't have to take up all their time.
Yeah, when I got my Iron Fist book signed by Matt Fraction, I just came up to him and was like, hey, I really dig your stuff. Sign my book. And he's like, do you want it personalized? And I said, yes. And he signed it, and then I moved on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to do a whole big thing with Matt Fraction because I like his books.
Exactly. Right. And like sometimes the best praise that especially if you meet them in not a con setting or you meet them when they're not behind their table, the best thing to do is like, oh, I'm a big fan. Thank you so much. And then move on because, they really appreciate that. Like they appreciate being kind of let go. Like, hey, I don't need to fucking sit here and talk your ear off all day. Right. Like just tell them, oh, you're a fan? Great. It's nice to meet you. And then I can move on, like that. I would hate to have to be on the other side of some of those comic book
I do have one exception to that though, which is if I ever get the opportunity, I want to corner Patrick Stewart in an elevator and tell him all about my friend fiction of him and Ian McKellen and Warren Ellis having a day out in a rowboat, like on the Thames, and I want to tell him about it until he's uncomfortable and like needs to flee.
That's odd.
I just
was just
wanna
gonna
take him
say
out
that.
for tea. Like
Yeah,
that's
just-
my dream. Just like, hey, you want to go get a cup of Earl Grey?
And he'd be like, "How do you know I like Earl Grey?"
Yeah, I don't remember. I was going to tell a story about something, but I forgot what it was.
I would, for the record, actually not do that, but I would dream about it.
Yeah.
I did get to meet, and this was really cool. I got to meet David Peterson, and
Oh, yeah.
he wrote Mouse Guard, and
Yep.
my little
And
brother
Drew Mouseguard.
and Drew Mouth Guard,
Mouth Guard.
whatever. My little brother like will not read books or did not read books, and I got him Mouse Guard for Christmas, and since then he's just been like reading books like crazy. Just because he was like, wait, they can be interesting, like
Yeah.
they don't have to be about like stupid history or like whatever school tells me.
Yeah,
You know.
dumb history. Who likes that
Dumb
shit?
old history.
Not me.
Things that
Happened
happened
so long
I hate
ago.
that.
That's the worst. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool,
but
guys.
so like I was talking to him, and I was just gonna do like a like a short little thing, like, hey, my little brother got into reading because of you, and I really appreciate it because this has been like my lifelong struggle. And he and I actually had like a really good in-depth conversation about how like he grew up with dyslexia and he hated reading because of it and did not read because he would always get so frustrated because he would miss lines or keep rereading lines. And it was just like, it was really hard for him. And he didn't start reading again until he was an adult. And now he like writes and draws, and it's amazing. It's just really well done. And so it was just like really cool. And he personalized the book to my little brother Levi, and it was just like a really good connection. And I always want, like, whenever I talk to an artist or an author, like a connection like that, but you can't expect that and you can't force it.
No. Yeah. I think that it is a lot of people want to just like open with stuff like that too. Just be like, just go up to them really quickly and start talking about stuff like that because, it's something that's very important to you and you've been like holding on to it for a long time. But the best conversations I have, you really have to like ease into it. And it was my favorite watching my friend Monty because he's he's just so socially awkward. Like he's very enamored by these creators. And he's huge fans and knows like a ton about their work and like who they are. And even people that I've never heard of, like he knows. And I'm like, dude, just go talk to, just say you like their work. Just go, hey, I liked your work. And then go away. And he's like, no, I can't. And it was fun to watch him embarrass himself in front of creators. It was amazing.
Yeah, last year I had Joe with me for the con, so I was like, I really like that guy. Joe, go start a conversation with him so that then I can jump in.
And look way cooler. He's like
Yes.
the perfect wingman. They always tell you if you're going on a date with a woman and you want a good wingman, take your loudest and most obnoxious friend, and then you will look way better by comparison.
That
So-
is exactly how it worked.
Yeah,
And
no.
Joe is not here to contradict me, so I must be right.
Yeah, I believe it.
But I forget which booth it was, but they had a oversized hardcover black and white edition of Mouse Guard Winter.
Oh yeah,
$100.
yeah, those are cool.
But all of the snowfall was actually like originally a separate layer. Like he drew all the art and then he did the snow on a separate layer on top of that. And the snow was actually like separate pages, like on transparencies.
Yeah.
So you could flip them
Whoa.
over
Neato.
and just see the art.
yeah,
Wow.
Which was super cool. Amazingly well done, like really high quality. Also $100.
My problem with those, and I saw those when we got them at the shop that I was working at, and I really liked them. My problem is David Peterson also does the colors on that series, and he does a fantastic job on the colors on that series too. And I want to see those colors at full size.
Well,
and,
at
like,
this point,
in
I'm
a-
pretty sure that you like color the best out of everything in a comic book.
It's so important. I'm such a
No,
colorist
it is.
nerd.
Like,
I'm like
I
such a
agree
huge
with you
nerd.
that it's important. Like,
Yeah.
it can make or break a book.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the most important thing.
No, I mean, obviously, like, it can help art with a bad line, but if an artist doesn't understand composition and how to draw a line and how to set up a scene and how to tell a story over panels, like, the book will fail regardless of how good the color is. So it's not the most important thing. It is my favorite thing, though.
Right. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying, basically.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, but I love black and white books, too. Let's not... I did
Well,
talk...
I like black and white books when they're done in black and white. I really hate when I've seen something in color and then they take the color away and it's just the black.
That's my problem with the Mouse Guard book. However, I did get to talk to Tim Sale about Billy 99.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
What did he say about it?
He said he didn't like it. No, he didn't. That's not what he said. I talked to him about it. I was like, oh, I recently went back and reread Billy 99, and like, it was cool to see some of your earlier work and like how you've grown and changed as an artist. And like, I thought that book was phenomenally put together, and your art on there is amazing, like some super atmospheric stuff. And I was really talking to him about it, and he was like, yeah, I remember that project being really difficult. Like I was not prepared to take on a project of that size. And he also was like severely underpaid for that project, and like it didn't do very well. And it was like, well, when he was talking about it,
we read it for the podcast because one of our listeners pitched it to us. I don't think any of us had even heard of this book.
I think I remember hearing it, but like none of us had read it, and like we maybe had seen it in passing, but like, you know, it's a super obscure book for such a big comic book creator to have one like that.
Yeah,
and. Yeah, he talked about it like it was not the most fun thing to work on in the world. So but it was cool to talk and get his kind of like perspective on like what it's like to work on a book.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff,
really
so.
Interesting how just talking with these people really humanizes them. And you hear things like, yeah, I was really underpaid for that book, or they told me I'd have this many issues and then I only got this many issues, and that kind of sucked, and I didn't get to tell I legitimately didn't get to tell the kind of story I wanted to. Like, we complain when a story is like really rushed and disjointed and it doesn't work as well as you want it to. And that's not necessarily the writer's fault.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I love that behind the scenes stuff. Like, I live for that. That's like
here.
in film, in television, like anything. I love that like insider information. And like a artist that I will not name was letting me in on a scandal at the DC offices, which he did not explain very much. He was like, there was a scandal. Some shit went down, and it was not good.
Was there a fight?
And they fired someone. And probably more than that person should have been fired, but they weren't. And I was like, oh, like I lived for the gossip in that moment. I was like, oh, I want to
hear more about this after we turn off the mics.
I don't have a ton more to say about it, to be honest, but like some shit went down that was bad. Anyway, just like, you know, like that kind of stuff when someone will let slip some information or one artist was talking about how another artist was like really dissing on their work, or another writer was like really dissing on their work, and he's like, you can't tell him I said that. And I was like, I love that insider gossip. Like, I love that. I live for that gossip. So that was cool.
So Kirby, Kayleigh, was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Well, Joe did get to see Jeff Smith, and he got like the big, huge, like, I guess omnibus thing
the
of
Razzle. I picked that up and I looked at it and I'm like, that is so ridiculously tempting because we just talked about Razzle.
And that's the color version.
And, yeah, the color is really nice. It was
it's
only
really
$40
nice.
for this really nice hardcover that's the entire thing in color.
Yeah.
It's such a good deal. And I was like, if Jeff Smith was here signing, I'd probably have bought it.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was gone, I was like, I will get other things because I can buy this later.
Yeah, you can get it another day. I did that with a couple of things too. I was like, I'm going to get this book. And then I was like, wait, I can buy that later.
Yeah,
I'll get these other things.
What I did too. No, but Joe got that. And I didn't know anything about Razzle. I didn't listen to your guys' podcast about it because I'm like way behind on it.
Oh my God.
But it was so good. Like, I was upset that I didn't like read it sooner. But I just wanted to say that was comic. Really good.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah, that edition too is really, really nice. I think that if you get a chance to pick it up, that's probably in my top like 5 great editions of whatever.
Well, and for the value too, like you almost can't beat it.
It's insane.
For a super nice hardcover, full color for $40.
Yeah,
that's a really good deal.
It is really nice, and it's a whole story too, which is nice. You don't like volume 1 and 2 or whatever. So
I picked up a book. Well, I bought it for Matt, but he's gonna pay me back. But Matt and I were talking to Anthony Johnston, the creator of The Wasteland. And the Umbrella, and he does Fuse and stuff. And he had this book about like Cold War spies or something, and I was like, man, I'm reading everything you're doing. He's like, have you read this? And like uncovered this hardcover. And I was like, what? No, I haven't. And so we were like geeking out over it with him. And he's like, yeah, and the second book's coming out. You guys want to pick this up? And we were like, yes. I felt like I was buying crack. I was like, I want that really badly now. You sold me so well on that.
There was one thing that I was desperately tempted to get and didn't. There's this guy I've been following on DeviantArt for the past few years. Mm-hmm. And I'm afraid I'm going to fuck up his name because I don't 100% remember it, but I think it's DJ Kenzie.
Uh-huh.
And he does a Pokemon comic called Pokemon Awkward Edition.
What?
where it's this. Basically, it's a Pokemon trainer who's even dumber than Ash, and it's just like ridiculous.
If that was possible.
I don't
and
think that's
funny
possible.
and silly.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, I've read these comics. I really like them. I bet Kirby would love this comic. I should get it for her. And I was like, how much is it? And they were like, it's $20. And it, like, legitimately is like, it's not that thick. It was maybe 40 pages. And I was like, I really like this. I'd consider it for 15. I'd definitely get it for 10. $20 is just too much when I could get something that's like 3 times thicker for the same price.
Legit.
Right.
Yeah.
That does sound like something I would like, though. So I will probably look at it later.
Yeah, I will forward you the link for that because you can read some of them online.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned about a lot of cool webcomics and stuff and like single releases, and oh man, my backpack is like all the way across the room. But I'll talk about them on later shows as the issues come out, because there's some issues that are coming out in singles that I was unaware of. They met the creators of, and they were like, "Oh, you should check the series out," and I was like, well, "Okay, I will." So I'll mention those on the weekly show, on the Wednesday shows. So
Yeah. Well, one thing about like the webcomic things, though, going back to that, was like I really wanted to get a sketch from the Cyanide and Happiness guys.
Oh yeah,
And they were like, you have to buy $30 worth of merch. I'm just like, your books are online for free. Why would I?
yeah.
Like, I would pay you $5 for a sketch or whatever, but I
I was
don't want to
also
buy your
super
crap.
tempted to get Rice Boy for $30.
Yeah.
It's like this 400-page color. Like, it's the whole
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
It's so good. It's such a good deal.
This was the creator. You pitched this on.
Yeah,
the
I pitched this
show.
on the show. I might have actually pitched 2 of his comics. He's got like 3 of them at this point.
Yeah,
Or maybe I just pitched Rice Boy twice.
I think you just pitched Rice Boy.
Okay.
I don't know that you
it's
pitched
by
it
Evan
twice,
Dom.
though. Yeah,
It's such a good comic. It's
yeah, I was really
so
interested in
colorful.
that.
I wanted a copy of this
Yeah.
for a really long time, and I was looking at it, and it was like, I could get this, or I could get 2 other things.
Yeah,
Because I really wanted to get a print, and I hadn't bought a print at that point.
it's so hard because I went around to like some of my favorite people that sell prints, like first thing, because I was just wandering around. I wanted to get signatures and stuff, and I was in Artist Alley, and like Chrissy Zulo had a bunch of really sweet new prints, and Ominga, Christopher Ominga, I think is his name, whose Hulk is in the office that I bought from him a couple years ago and got framed. He has a new. It's behind you on the desk.
Oh,
that one. He has.
That's a cool print.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's my favorite. One of my favorite Hulks ever.
I'll pull it out after we're done. It's going to make a huge noise because there's stuff on top of it.
He did a Lego movie of Benny, the spaceman from the Lego movie. There's just a spaceship on the bottom of it, and I was like, "Fuck, I want that so bad." But I was like, "No, you have to budget yourself. You can't blow all your money in the first 10 minutes of the con." That's my hardest
So
thing.
hard not to do that, though. You're just like, oh, I've got all this money. I can, and then like at the end, you're like, I really have to think about what I'm getting.
The
Yeah,
hardest
for
thing
sure.
for me is wanting to buy prints, but not wanting to have to carry them over the entire con.
Yeah, no,
Because books you can throw into your bag, but
Right.
prints, like, you do not want those things to get, like,
Yeah.
rumpled or
we
messed
got
up.
some cool the big hard sleeves basically for like posters for like $6 like
Nice.
which is a really good deal. The guys that I was with, they picked one up and just like shoved all their prints in that, and it worked really well. So
Yeah, we got
I would
one of those,
recommend that,
too.
or a poster tube, which they sell at the event, or you can get probably like
Yeah.
FedEx or something.
Well, I got a littler print that I could put in my bag because it actually had, like, cardboard in the sleeve.
Oh, nice.
Which was really nice. But a friend of mine asked me to get something My Little Pony related for her son. And so I looked and like I couldn't find any comics, and there was like a My Little Pony t-shirt that was a con exclusive, but you had to go to the official merch booth when there's always a huge line.
Yeah.
So I was like, I texted her, I was like, would he like a print? And she was like, sure, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And so I got a My Little print for this kid,
Uh-huh.
and then I had to carry it around for like 2 hours, and it was like huge and floppy, and it had a My Little Pony on it.
Which you
And like,
love.
I have nothing against bronies, but seriously, like the entire time I was holding it, every single person I talked to was like, "Oh, you're a brony?" I was like, "No, I'm doing a favor for a friend."
Yes.
He did luck out though, because I had like a board thing, so he was able to hide it beneath
Yes,
my Cthulhu print. And
Kayleigh
just
helped me
pretend
carry
didn't
it for
exist.
a few hours, but then I had to
Nice.
carry it around by myself for a couple hours after that,
Yeah.
and now it's hidden in a drawer.
I have to like time that stuff out. I'm like, how long do I want to carry this for? I waited till the last minute of the last day to buy the book, the Dread book that I bought, because I was like, I'm gonna wait till right at the end because I don't want to carry it around. My backpack is heavy enough as it is.
I got chafing on my shoulders from like having my purse for a couple days and then having like my huge messenger bag. So like both shoulders are all like red and chafed from just like carrying those around.
Yeah.
It's a really bad idea. I should bring a backpack.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even my backpack was like starting to hurt my back after a couple days.
I did a shoulder bag last year, and I learned my lesson. I brought a backpack this year, and it worked out great.
Yeah, I just had too much shit in there. And too much shit that I didn't need to bring, too. I just brought extra stuff that I should not have brought this year.
I also
Last
packed
year-
light because I know that I'm going to go next year,
Yeah.
and I can get stuff signed then.
Well, I brought a sketchbook that I didn't have anybody sketch in. I brought my camera, and I took like 4 pictures. I brought a video camera, like a tiny one, but still, and I didn't
Right.
use it at all.
Last year, I made the mistake of bringing 5 of my copies of Elephant Men in my backpack on Friday.
Oh, my
And that
God.
was terrible. That was the worst decision of my entire life. Like, hands down. Without question.
Well, like I got
Well,
my
you had
ElfQuest-
Heisel like carry him the whole time, didn't you? I don't know how that's bad for you.
I got my ElfQuest Volume 1 signed last year. I got my ElfQuest Volume 2 signed this year. And next year I'll probably bring Volume 3. Gotta space that out.
I only brought single issues this year because I got rid of all my trades, and so, well, not all of them, most of them, and so the single issues that are the backdrop for our for the Top of the Stack show, I got a lot of those signed, and so I just took a stack of single issues, which was so much nicer than taking trades, and I will never take trades to get signed again.
I think it's kind of, honestly, like, I think it's kind of rude to have, like, a bunch of stuff signed.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, like, in the Mike Allred line, like, everybody had, like, just, like, stacks of, like,
Oh,
Madman and, like,
Well,
FF and stuff.
what's crazy is the guy that was behind me, he was like, oh, you know, I saw Mike Allred in the last show, and I told him, like, I have all of the ecstatics and all of your whatever, and he was like, you should bring them, I'll sign them all.
Dude, he's so nice.
Like, he is, like, all about it. A lot of creators will charge you past a certain number, because if they're not personalizing them, you're
Yeah.
obviously selling them.
Yeah.
So I saw a guy bring a stack, like 50 book stack to Eric Larson to get signed that were just the same issue of Walking Dead that he did the cover for. And he was like, all right, well, I'll tell you, Eric Larson, who is this most awesome man ever. And I got my Savage Dragon #1 signed from him, which was great, and told him thank you for saving comics because of Image Comics.
It's amazing how much Image is knocking it out of the park right now.
Oh, they've saved comics at least twice now. I told him that. I was like, thank you for founding Image Comics and saving comics at least twice. You should definitely take credit for that. And he's like, okay. But the guy brought this huge stack up to him, and he was like, all right, here's how this is going to work. First 2 are free. All the rest of them are $5 each. And the guy was like, had clearly not thought this through. And I felt bad for him because he was like, oh, I'm going to buy all these issues and make $1 billion. And it's like, no, you're making money off of people's work.
Well, here's the thing.
Like, they should get a cut.
Yeah.
If you're not getting that stuff authenticated,
Right.
it's not worth that much. Like anybody
Oh, yeah.
can look at a signed thing
Yeah.
and just make a signature.
Yeah.
Like it's not that hard.
Yeah.
So like I really don't understand what these people even think they're doing.
No, and every time I get something signed, I love to get it personalized. I ask to
Me
get it
too.
personalized because, one, it's for me. Like, I don't want to sell it ever. I want that for me. Like, I have a whole box full of books that Eric Troutman signed for me because he used to be my boss. And it was like, I'm going to keep those forever. They're all made out to me, and they all say horrible things on them, and they can't go up anywhere.
I backed out at the last minute. So I was going to get Iron Fist signed by Matt Fraction.
Uh-huh.
I grabbed Volume 2 instead of Volume 1.
Uh-huh.
And so I just had him sign it with his name. I was going to have him sign it with his Twitter handle.
Yeah.
So next year, Volume 1, Butt Stuff Werewolf.
Yeah. And I love getting it signed, too, because you can tell that their eyes kind of light up when they're like, oh, would you like it personalized? And you're like, yes, of course. Like, this is for me. Like, I am a fan. And that's how they
Yeah.
know you're a fan, is like, if you want it personalized to you. Otherwise, it's like, oh, he's probably going to try to sell it. Or like, he thinks this is going to raise the value. I'm not on board with that.
It always
Also,
reminds
make sure
me.
that nobody can take it from you because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
your name in it, and they can't be like, "Oh, this is my copy of
Yeah.
such and such." Nope, got my name on it.
It says to Tobiah from Butt Stuff Werewolf. It's probably not
That's
yours.
how I'm going to get him to do it exactly. From your pal, Butt Stuff Werewolf.
That might be pushing it.
Man, his Tumblr handle is not that interesting. It's just Matt Fraction blog.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Should be Butt Stuff Werewolf. I'm sure there was already a Butt Stuff Werewolf on Tumblr. Knowing Tumblr. Anything else you guys wanted to say about the con? How did you like the weather today? It rained a lot.
It was random.
Yeah.
It was kind of sunny, and then it was rainy, and then it was sunny again, and then it was rainy.
I will say one last thing that was really cool was I was dressed as an Eternal Scout from Welcome to Night Vale, and there's no official costume because it's a radio broadcast. So I didn't think that anybody would really know what I was or whatever, and I was okay with that because I was just dressing up for me. And I was riding up the escalator, and there was an escalator in the middle that was also going up, and then there was one that was going down, and somebody, I don't know who, from the one that was going down yelled, "That's a really good Eternal Scout costume!" And I was like, yes, I have been validated.
Nice.
No, legitimately, that was a good costume.
Oh, thank you.
Did I see? When did you wear that on Saturday?
Yes.
I didn't see you on Saturday.
Huh.
Man,
She had a Girl Scout sash with badges, but they were crazy arcane runes.
oh, nice.
And then it's
awesome.
got
Do you have a picture?
I do not, but Kate, Andrea, and I are going to do a photo shoot
Sweet.
sometime together.
We'll
so.
link to that on our website.
That would be
During
awesome.
this episode, we'll edit it to have that on there when you get that up. So, yeah. Well, if you guys don't have anything else,
Yeah, I
that's a
think
good-
that about does it. I had a great time.
I had a
this
Me too.
year
It was
was an
wonderful.
absolute blast.
oh, so good.
I got there at 10. I got all my stuff signed by 12:30.
Yeah.
And so the rest of the time I was just cruising around the con, checking things out.
Oh, I felt so not rushed. It was so nice to meet all the creators and just be able to take with them for a while and not feel like I was under a schedule. It was-
Last
Yeah.
year, it felt way more just this press of people constantly.
yeah.
And most of the time, I could just get through pretty easily. A couple of times,
Yeah.
I had to kind of slow down for a minute. But it was a lot better this year.
That's not to
wonder-
say that there weren't some lines, because the lines for the celebrity guests are always used. Also, I ran into Nathan Fillion's daughter from Castle, the actress.
Oh yeah,
Almost physically almost ran into her on this floor by the Boom studio booths. She was just chilling out there, and I was like, she looks really familiar. Oh yeah, that's who that is. But the celebrity signings
she
are really
does
big.
something else, or there's something else about her. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, there is something else about her, but I can't.
Is she writing a comic now? Is she gonna do
No, I
comics
think
or
she was
something
in
now? Or?
something, wasn't
Yeah.
it? I know Joe was.
I mean, she
talking about
does
it. I was just
other
Was it-
she does other TV, but that's what I know.
Right,
her
but
from.
other than being
movie that's
actress, there was
coming
something
out,
else.
the one with the mirror. Was that it?
No,
No.
it's Karen Gillian
Oh, okay,
in
never mind.
Oculus. Yeah. But the celebrity guest lines are really long, and Scott Snyder is the new Jeff Johns, so his line was around the fucking
You
building.
know what's funny is that the one time I passed his booth, there was nobody there.
That's
he was
crazy.
sitting there, and there was
Well,
nobody
he
there.
doesn't do signings though when he's at his booth,
Okay.
because
So wait, why
his,
is he at his booth?
I don't know, because every time that I went by there,
you to
they
look
were
at him?
there was no one, and then at the DC booth, the line was
Okay.
astronomically long. So,
I did see him at his booth once, and there was a super crazy long line. So
Yeah.
maybe it's just certain times that he
I
does
have
signings.
no idea, but I did see Dan DiDio talking to Gail Simone, who I got to meet. Not DiDio, but Simone.
Well, why would you want to?
Why would I want to meet DiDio? I was really wishing that I had made up my fired Dan DiDio shirt and could have gone up and be like, "Hey, Gail, good to see you again," with that on, and him just be like, "People, what? What is that guy?"
I don't think he would be that surprised.
I think he would just be like, "Why the fuck did you make a T-shirt of that?" Too much effort. All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. It's a successful con, and I'm going back next year for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Me too.
for sure.
And if you guys haven't been to Emerald City and you're looking for a good con as a starter con, I would definitely recommend it. Or if you're tired of how huge New York and San Diego have gotten, this is a nice smaller con that is super fun. So check it out, everybody. And thanks for listening. We'll catch you guys on our regular show again next time on Wednesday, and we'll see you later.
And
Bye.
look for
Later.
the forthcoming Back Matter episode 4 point eternity point never.
With a holofoil cover, relaunch edition. It's got Evil Ernie on the cover. It's going to be put out by Chaos Comics.
Yep.
So look for that.
Yeah, check that out.
Collaboration with Malibu and Epic Comics. It's a big deal. All right. See you next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.